The night air bit into Daniel Harper's skin as he knelt beside his patrol car, Max's warm breath steady against his palm. The German shepherd's ears twitched, scanning the empty parking lot of the abandoned warehouse. Too quiet. Daniel's gut clenched, the same instinct that had kept him alive through 12 years on the force. "You feel it too, don't you, boy?" Max's low whine answered him. They'd been tracking a drug shipment for weeks. Captain Victor Kane had assigned the case personally. "This could make your career, Harper," he'd said, clapping Daniel's shoulder with a grip that felt more like a warning than encouragement. Now, as shadows stretched like claws across the asphalt, Daniel wondered why the radio had gone silent, why backup hadn't arrived. A flicker of movement. Max lunged forward, barking sharply. Daniel's flashlight beam cut through the dark, landing on a figure slipping into the warehouse. He drew his weapon. "Police! Freeze!" The figure vanished. Max strained against his leash, snarling. Inside, the warehouse reeked of decay. Crates lined the walls. Daniel's pulse roared as he pried one open. Empty. All of them. Empty. A setup. The realization hit like a bullet. Footsteps echoed behind him. He spun, but too late. A blow to his temple dropped him to his knees. Max's furious barks dissolved into muffled whimpers as a hood yanked over the dog's head. Hands pinned Daniel's arms. Captain Kane's face swam into view, cold as steel. "Sorry, Harper. Wrong place, wrong time." The courtroom smelled of polished wood and lies. Daniel sat shackled, the verdict ringing in his ears. Guilty. 12 years of service. 3 commendations. None of it mattered. The jury believed the drugs had been in his trunk. The same trunk Max had sniffed clean hours before the arrest. But the truth didn't matter. Not when Captain Kane had testified against him. The judge's gavel struck. Sentenced to 15 years. Daniel's voice cracked. "Your Honor, please, let me say goodbye to my dog." A murmur rippled through the room. The judge hesitated, then nodded. Max burst into the courtroom like a storm, leash trailing. He lunged for Daniel, knocking him backward. Daniel buried his face in the dog's fur, tears searing his cheeks. "I'm sorry, Max. I'm so sorry." But Max wasn't listening. His nose drilled into Daniel's jacket. Frantic. A sharp bark. Another. The courtroom froze. "What's that dog doing?" the judge snapped. An officer stepped forward, patting Daniel's pockets. A metallic clink. A tiny recorder hit the floor. The prosecutor paled. "This proves nothing." The judge raised a hand. "Play it." Static hiss, then Kane's voice. "Plant the evidence." Harper's the perfect fall guy. Gasps erupted. Daniel's breath stopped. Max sat rigid, a growl rumbling in his throat, a sound Daniel had only ever heard in the face of danger. The evidence room reeked of dust and desperation. Officer Elena Rivera, Daniel's former partner, knelt beside Max, her hands trembling as she sifted through Kane's files. The dog nosed at a loose floorboard, whining. Elena pried it up. Photographs. Bank statements. Names. Captain Kane. Councilman Richard Voss. Drug shipments. Payments. "My God," Elena whispered. Max pawed at her leg, insistent. Deeper in the board, a flash drive glinted. Hours later, the judge reviewed the files, his face hardening. "This goes beyond Kane. Voss has been pulling string for years." Rain lashed the safe house windows. Daniel crouched beside Max, tracing the dog's scar, a souvenir from a warehouse. Elena burst in, drenched. "They're coming. Kane's men. We have to move." Gunfire shattered the night. Max lunged at the first intruder, teeth sinking into flesh. Daniel returned fire, shielding Elena as she fled with the evidence. Bullets tore through walls. Max yelped, a graze to his shoulder. Daniel dragged him behind cover. "Stay with me, boy. Stay." Sirens wailed. "Back up." Too late. The headline screamed. Corruption unmasked. Captain and councilman arrested in drug ring scandal. Daniel stood in the precinct parking lot, Max leaning against his leg. The dog's shoulder was bandaged, his eyes still fierce. Elena approached, holding a badge, his badge. They want you back. Daniel took it, weighing the metal. 12 years of faith. Shattered. Rebuilt. He knelt, pressing his forehead to Max's. We did it, boy. Not for them. For everyone they silenced. Max licked his cheek, tail thumping. In the end, it wasn't the badge that defined him. It was the loyalty of a dog who refused to let the truth die. Even in the darkest lies, one bond forged in integrity can illuminate the path to justice.